I will never forget that Christmas dinner when my cousins snickered as I pulled up in my 10-year-old Honda. The same night, my sister Amanda rolled her eyes when I mentioned I was skipping a vacation to build my emergency fund. The whispers, the jokes, the condescending looks whenever I talked about saving money or investing wisely. They called me the broke one, the cheapskate, the family disappointment. What they never knew was that for 5 years, I had been silently paying their mortgage car loans and credit card bills. They mocked my financial choices while living off my money. If you are watching this from somewhere your family has underestimated you, hit subscribe now and join me on this journey. Growing up in Chicago, I learned the value of hard work early. Our family was firmly middle class, comfortable, but never extravagant. My mother passed away when I was 12, leaving my father and me to navigate life as a team. We did well together, finding a rhythm in our shared grief and moving forward. Everything changed when I was 16, and Dad married Sophia. She brought 2 children into our home, Travis, who was my age, and Amanda, who was 2 years younger. Initially, I was thrilled to have siblings after years of being an only child. Our blended family seemed perfect on the surface, and I truly believed in the importance of family bonds. After high school, I worked double shifts to put myself through community college before transferring to the state university. I majored in computer science, while Travis dropped out after 1 semester, and Amanda pursued a fashion merchandising degree at an expensive private college. I graduated with minimal student loans, thanks to scholarships and my part-time jobs. My first position after college was at a small tech startup downtown. The salary was modest, around $50,000 annually, but I saw potential for growth. More importantly, it gave me the flexibility and knowledge to pursue my true passion, developing my own software startup on the side. I worked 80-hour weeks, splitting time between my day job and my personal project, a specialized inventory management system for small businesses. Just as things were falling into place professionally, tragedy struck. Dad suffered a massive heart attack and passed away suddenly when I was 25. We were all devastated, but the emotional trauma was quickly compounded by financial shock. Dad had remortgaged the family home to invest in a business venture that had failed, leaving behind substantial debt. The life insurance barely covered the funeral expenses. I still remember the family meeting after the will reading. Sophia was distraught. Travis was angry, and Amanda seemed lost. Without telling them, I made a decision that would define the next 5 years of my life. I would step up and handle the financial burden. The family home where we all grew up held too many memories to lose, and I could not bear to see Sophia, Travis, and Amanda struggle. This meant living even more frugally than before. I rented a tiny studio apartment in a less desirable neighborhood to save on rent. I continued driving my old Honda long after it should have been replaced. My wardrobe consisted of basics from discount stores, and eating out became a rare luxury. Every extra dollar went toward paying down the family debt and keeping up with the monthly bills for the house where Sophia, Travis, and Amanda still lived. Around this time, my side project began showing promise. After 2 years of development, my inventory software attracted its first major client, then several more. The revenue was modest at first, but growing steadily. I reinvested most profits back into the business while continuing to support my family financially. I deliberately chose not to tell them about this budding success, hoping they would learn financial responsibility if they believed resources were limited. As months passed, I noticed a troubling pattern. While I lived on a tight budget to support them, Travis and Amanda developed increasingly expensive tastes. Travis leased a luxury car he could not afford. Amanda shopped designer brands and took lavish vacations funded by credit cards. Sophia renovated the kitchen with high-end appliances, adding to the home equity loan I was already paying down. When I gently suggested more economical choices, they dismissed me as being negative or lacking ambition. The more I supported them financially, the more entitled they seemed to become. The divide between my lifestyle and theirs grew wider, setting the stage for conflicts that would eventually force me to make the hardest decision of my life. The first time I truly felt the sting of their ingratitude was at the family Christmas gathering 3 years after Dad passed. I had just paid the property tax bill for the family home, leaving my own bank account nearly empty. Travis pulled into the driveway in a brand new Audi, stepping out with an air of superiority that made my skin crawl. Still driving that junk heap, Johnny, he laughed, pointing at my Honda. Man, you really need to level up. Life is too short to drive garbage. Inside, Amanda was showing everyone photos from her recent trip to the Maldives, an expense I knew she could not afford on her retail assistant salary. The overwater bungalows were absolutely worth the splurge, she gushed. You only live once, right? When gift exchange came, I had carefully selected thoughtful but inexpensive presents for everyone. For Sophia, a collection of novels by her favorite author. For Travis, a custom phone case with a photo of his dog. For Amanda, a handmade scarf from a local artisan. Their gifts to each other were extravagant designer, handbags, premium electronics, luxury brand clothing. My gifts looked paltry in comparison, and I noticed the fleeting disappointment on their faces as they unwrapped them. Jonathan, Sophia said with a thin smile, "These books are nice. But you know, with your computer background, I thought you would be doing better by now. Have you considered asking for a raise or looking for a better position?" That comment stung. But what hurt more was overhearing a conversation later that evening. I had gone to the kitchen to help with dishes when I heard Amanda talking to her friend in the living room. "Yeah, that was from my brother Jonathan," she said with a laugh. "He is basically the family charity case. Great guy, but total financial disaster. Dad would be so disappointed if he knew Jonathan turned out to be such a underachiever." I froze, plates in hand, as Travis joined their conversation. "The guy has a computer science degree, but lives like a college student," he added. "Meanwhile, I just closed a huge deal at work. Some people have it, some people do not, I guess." What Travis did not mention was that his huge deal had fallen through, and he had called me just last week, panicking about making his car payment. I had transferred him $2,000, telling myself it was a one-time emergency. The pattern continued and intensified over the following months. At a family barbecue, Travis parked his Audi directly behind my Honda, ensuring everyone arriving would see the contrast. He spent the afternoon giving people rides in his new car, making a show of its features and speed. When I tried talking to him about investment strategies and compound interest, explaining how I was building wealth, slowly but surely, he and his friends erupted in laughter. "Look at Warren Buffett over here," Travis mocked. "Giving financial advice while wearing $10 sneakers." Classic Johnny. On Sophia's birthday, I found myself in a particularly tight spot financially. I had just covered the biannual property tax bill for the family home and paid off a $5,000 credit card balance Amanda had racked up on a shopping spree. My gift to Sophia was a framed family photo in a simple wooden frame I had made myself. When she opened it, the disappointment on her face was unmistakable. "Oh," she said flatly, "a picture frame." She glanced around at the expensive gifts from Travis and Amanda, then back at mine. "I suppose it is the thought that counts," she added with a sigh, though some thoughts could include a little more effort. Later that evening, I overheard her telling her sister on the phone, "Jonathan gave me a homemade picture frame." Can you believe it? His father would be so disappointed. Thomas always provided so well for this family, and his son just does not seem to have that same sense of responsibility. The irony of her statement was physically painful. That same morning, I had authorized the automatic payment for her car insurance, cell phone bill, and utilities. Thanksgiving brought another level of humiliation. As we gathered around the table, the conversation turned to careers and success. Travis boasted about clients and deals that I knew were fabrications. Amanda talked about a promotion she never actually received. "What about you, Jonathan?" an aunt asked kindly. "How is your work going?" Before I could answer, Travis jumped in. "Johnny here is still plugging away at that little tech company," he said with false sympathy, Entry-level position, right, bro? Not exactly. I started to explain. I actually am working on some projects that. He means yes, Amanda interrupted with a laugh. Classic office drone, 9 to 5 in the cubicle farm. The table erupted in good-natured laughter, but I felt my face burning with shame and frustration. No one knew that the previous night I had stayed up until 3 in the morning fixing critical bugs in my software platform, which now served over 50 paying business clients. Later that weekend, I discovered something that should have been my breaking point. While using Sophia's computer to help her with a technical issue, I noticed emails from multiple credit card companies with past due warnings. Further digging revealed that Travis had maxed out 3 credit cards and Amanda had opened several store accounts that were now in collections. Despite living in the house I was paying for driving cars, I subsidized and enjoying a lifestyle beyond their means, they were still accumulating massive debt. Meanwhile, they only seemed to call or text when they needed money for an emergency. The rest of the time, I was the family joke, the cautionary tale of financial failure. Everything came to a head at our annual family reunion last summer. Extended family from across the country gathered at a lake house rental that Sophia had insisted on booking despite its exorbitant cost, which I ended up covering. I arrived late after finishing an important client implementation for my software company. The party was in full swing, drinks flowing freely, music blaring. I grabbed a soda and tried to blend in, making small talk with relatives I rarely saw. "There he is," Travis announced loudly when he spotted me. The financial genius himself. He slung an arm around my shoulder, clearly intoxicated. "Tell everybody, Johnny, about your investment strategy of never spending money and living like a pauper." Several people chuckled uncomfortably, sensing the hostility beneath his joking tone. "I just believe in living within my means," I said evenly, trying to extract myself. "Within his means," Travis repeated mockingly. "Meanwhile, some of us actually enjoy life. When are you going to grow up and buy a house like an adult? Or are you planning to rent that pathetic apartment forever?" Amanda joined in, wine glass in hand. "He is saving up for retirement at age 90, she joked, "while the rest of us are actually living." I might have weathered their taunts as usual, but what happened next broke something inside me. Sophia stepped forward, placed her hand on my arm in a gesture that appeared sympathetic to others, but felt condescending to me. "Jonathan has always been cautious," she told the group. "His father was such a provider, such a success. I suppose not every son can follow in those footsteps." The room seemed to spin around me. 5 years of sacrifice, hundreds of thousands of dollars spent supporting these people. Countless nights, lying awake, worrying about their financial well-being, all while they mocked and belittled me. And now, Sophia had the audacity to compare me unfavorably to my father, whose debts I had been paying since his death. I left the party early, claiming a headache. That night, as I sat alone in my apartment, my phone buzzed 3 times in succession. First, a text from Travis. "Hey bro, hate to ask, but I am in a bind. Owe some guys $2,500 for poker night. They are not the patient type. Can you wire me cash first thing tomorrow?" Then, "Amanda, Johnny, my Nordstrom card is maxed, and I need these shoes for a work event. Can you bail me out just $1,200? Love you." Finally, Sophia, Jonathan, the SUV is making that noise again. Need to take it to the dealership tomorrow. Can you handle it like last time? Probably around $1,800. Thanks in advance. I stared at these messages, a cold clarity washing over me. They saw me as nothing more than an ATM, a financial safety net they could mock publicly while depending on privately. They had no idea that my little tech company was now valued at several $1,000,000, or that I lived simply by choice rather than necessity. The next day at work, I confided in my colleague Mason over lunch, showing him the texts and explaining the situation for the first time. "Let me get this straight," Mason said, looking incredulous. "You have been bankrolling your entire family for 5 years, and they think you are broke, and they make fun of you for it. When he put it that way, the absurdity of the situation hit me full force. "Jonathan, this is financial abuse," Mason continued. "They are using you while treating you like garbage. How much have you spent on them over the years?" That night, I went through my financial records meticulously. The number shocked even me: $237, 842 over 5 years. Mortgage payments, car loans, credit card bills, property taxes, utilities, random cash loans that were never repaid. As I sat surrounded by spreadsheets and bank statements, an email notification appeared on my screen. It was from a venture capital firm that had been courting my company. They were offering a partnership deal that valued my startup at $4 million. In that moment, everything became crystal clear. I spent the night drafting a careful plan and writing a long email to Sophia, Travis, and Amanda. Then I quietly canceled every automatic payment I had set up for their bills, froze the emergency credit card I had given them, and booked a flight to San Francisco, where my company's biggest clients were based. I would not tell them about my decision directly. Instead, I would let the consequences of their financial irresponsibility finally catch up to them. I spent the next month in San Francisco, focusing entirely on growing my business and enjoying the strange new sensation of spending money on myself without guilt. I rented a comfortable apartment with a view of the bay, bought some new clothes, and even treated myself to restaurants that did not have value meals. Meanwhile, back home, chaos erupted. My phone exploded with notifications, missed calls, voicemails, texts, emails. I read them, but did not respond. First came confusion. "Jonathan, there must be a mistake with the mortgage payment." "Johnny, my car payment bounced. Can you check what happened?" Then panic. "The electricity company is threatening to disconnect service. My credit card company is calling about missed payments." Finally, anger. "What the hell, Jonathan? Are you punishing us? Pick up your damn phone." After 3 weeks, I finally answered a call from Sophia. "Jonathan, where have you been? Everything is falling apart here. The mortgage is 2 months behind, the utilities are sending final notices, and Travis might lose his car." I took a deep breath. "Sophia, I have been paying all those bills for 5 years, every month without fail or thanks." Silence on the line. "That is not possible," she finally said. "We would have known." "Would you? You were all too busy mocking my frugal lifestyle and financial choices to notice where the money was coming from. Did you ever wonder how you afforded that house after Dad died? Or who paid the property taxes and insurance? Or why your credit cards kept having balance payoffs?" You did not make. Another long silence. "We need to talk about this in person," she said, her voice shaking. "When are you coming home?" 3 months after leaving, I finally returned. The family home looked different, somehow less maintained. The lawn was overgrown, and Travis's precious Audi was nowhere to be seen. I knocked on the door of the house I had paid for since my father's death. Sophia answered, looking older and tired. Behind her, Travis and Amanda hovered nervously. None of them looked like the confident, mocking people who had belittled me for years. We gathered in the living room, the atmosphere thick with tension. "I want to show you something," I said, opening my laptop. I had prepared a presentation detailing every payment I had made on their behalf since Dad died. Mortgage statements, car loans, utility bills, random cash transfers, credit card payments. 5 years of financial support laid bare. As they looked through the evidence, their expressions transformed from disbelief to shock to shame. "I do not understand," Amanda whispered. "You paid for everything all this time while you called me cheap, while you mocked my car, my clothes, my apartment, while you compared me unfavorably to Dad and called me a failure. Why did you not tell us?" Travis asked, his usual bravado. "Completely gone. Would it have made a difference? Would you have stopped the designer shopping sprees, the luxury cars, the expensive vacations? Would you have learned to live within your means and stand on your own feet?" No one had an answer. The truth is, I continued, I could have afforded a nicer life. My software company has been successful for years. I lived frugally by choice to help the family and build something meaningful. But you confused my choices with failure, my priorities with lack of ambition. Sophia was openly crying now. We did not know. We just did not know. You never asked, I replied simply. You assumed I was struggling and mocked me for it while simultaneously depending on me financially. Do you know how that felt? The conversation lasted hours. There were tears, apologies, recriminations, and eventually tentative understanding. I laid out new terms. I would help them one last time, with a plan to restructure their debt and learn financial responsibility. But there would be no more blank checks, no more endless support. Travis would need to sell his luxury car and find a practical job. Amanda would need to curb her shopping addiction and finish her degree. Sophia would have to downsize or find work to contribute to the household expenses. And all of them would need to take financial literacy courses that I would pay for as my final gift. 6 months later, progress was slow but steady. Travis found a job at a local marketing firm and was driving a used Toyota. Amanda had returned to community college and started a small online business selling handmade jewelry. Sophia had taken a part-time position at the local library and was learning to budget. A year after my dramatic exit and return, we had a family dinner that felt different from all the ones before. It was simpler, cooked at home rather than catered. The conversation was more genuine, without the competitive edge that had characterized our gatherings for years. I want to apologize again, Sophia said, as we finished dessert. We treated you terribly while you were quietly supporting us. I know saying sorry is not enough, but I am so deeply ashamed of how we behaved. Travis and Amanda nodded in agreement, both looking humbled in a way I never thought possible. I learned something important through all this, I told them. Money is not just about what you can buy. It is about security choices and ultimately respect. I needed to respect myself enough to stop enabling behavior that was harmful to all of us. The journey to healing our family wounds continues. Some days are better than others. Trust rebuilds slowly, but it is rebuilding. And I find that our relationships, stripped of financial dependency and false pretenses, have the potential to be more authentic than they ever were before. Life taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to stop rescuing them and let them face the consequences of their actions. True growth rarely happens in comfort zones. And family bonds, when tested and reformed through honest confrontation, can emerge stronger and more genuine than before. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision with family for your own well-being? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more stories of personal growth through adversity. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, sometimes walking away is the first step toward building something better.